The person I've been searching for my whole life is my grandfather, Major Patrick Arthur Anger. He died at the age of 30 and he joined the Navy at the age of 13, so he spent more than half of his life in uniform.
I think it was Attlee, the Prime Minister at the time, called it a distant obligation, but an obligation nonetheless. If we had not resisted North Korea's advance, it would have sent a very clear signal to Mao Zedong that we were not prepared to stand up to this sort of aggression. And I doubt that Hong Kong would have survived very long.
It was in 2023, I saw that there was this online archive of aerial photographs of England, and I wanted to have a look at these and see if there were any photos of my grandmother's house. And I found some photographs, a really good one. I looked, zoomed in the photograph, there was a couple sitting on the bench and what looked like two young children standing in front of the bench as well. There is nobody else it could be than my grandparents, and the small children, the only people it could have been were my mother and my aunt. And then I saw the date that it was actually in 1950, September 1950, and it was just a few weeks before my grandfather left to Korea. As they were leaving the hill, my grandfather was arranging the troops to withdraw, and he was shot as they were leaving the hill. Of the men on that hill, I believe almost all of them were killed, wounded, or taken prisoner in North Korea. What we did know is that they left his body underneath an upturned boat at the battalion headquarters. For many years was that he had no known grave. In my grandmother's last few years, she suffered from dementia. In her last few years, she would sometimes look at photographs of her and my grandfather and say, "Oh, what happened to Pat?" And she couldn't remember anymore what had happened to him. And I think this made it very clear to me how important it is to remember and how important it is to document the past.
Since about 2018, we've been gathering DNA samples from the next of kin of all the British missing soldiers in the hope that perhaps we can identify some that have been found, since the end of the Korean War. The casualty in the grave that has now been identified as Patrick Angier.
I was very surprised. I'd always thought one day there might be a discovery, but I thought this might be 200 years in the future, who knows? There was little hope. Now I know that's not where his body has its final resting place, it's in Busan. Yeah, that knowledge brings a finality to it, yes, that we know that's where he is.
지금 유엔기념공원에는 101분의 무명용사분들이 안장이 되어 계시고요. 현재 이곳에는 총 14개국 2,333분의 안장자분들이 안장되어 계십니다. 한국전쟁은 잊혀진 전쟁으로도 불립니다. 그렇지만 그 한국전쟁이 절대 잊혀지지 않을 곳이 있다면 바로 여기 유엔기념공원일 것입니다.
It is a very difficult experience to not have that identity, to have that. I know some of those families myself, and I know how much it means to them. I know how desperately they would like for there to be some news. I really hope that there are more families who will have the same answers.